Hello YouTube. So from today guys I'm going to make small videos. Many of the viewers recommended me to make small videos. They want to understand one concept in one video guys. Okay, so I have taken their suggestion seriously and I'm going to proceed in that direction. Okay. So in order to understand this machine learning algorithms or data science thoroughly, you must understand the calculus. The calculus is a branch of mathematics which deals with the change. Okay, so calculus studies that how one thing changing or how one thing changing affects other thing changing. Okay, and to understand calculus, you must know what functions are about. Okay, what functions are all about. Okay, so I know many of the guys are aware of this thing, what functions are, so they can skip this video. If they want to go into deeper, okay, they can continue watching. So now I'm going to show you one video which I took from Coursera course taught by Jim Fowler. So it is open source MOOC course, guys. I will put the link in the of his course in description, so you can also watch his course and learn from him. He is an outstanding teacher, guys. So let me open this video, guys. Okay, so you can see that. uh, so let's watch the video first. So you are seeing that 5 is going through box and appearing as 30. So you can visualize function as some kind of machine which takes input, and produces output. And the mechanism of this machine or function is given by this formula, guys. So you can see this formula. So this formula says that I will take x and I will output x square plus x, in this case 5 square, which is 25, plus 5, 30. So just understand function as a kind of machine which takes input and produces output, guys. So let's dig deep into the function. So I have now this tab open, guys. Okay, so let's understand this function concept in depth. So let's go. So you can see this diagram, guys. Okay, so you are seeing this eclipse structure, this first eclipse, second eclipse, and you can see mapping, guys. So functions are also known as mapping. So consider this, this is same concept. Okay, so this one is put into the machine and this p is appearing. So let me open the paint, so you can think of the machine function as a machine. Okay guys, so the this one, so one is going into the machine and p is coming, so you can understand like that. Okay, so let's continue. So the numbers in this eclipse are called as domains. So they are the values that I'm going to provide as input to the function. That means they will be at this side of the machine, this side. So I will put these values for function to calculate. Okay, and this thing is known as codomain, which are these values. Okay, which are these values that is appearing as output. Okay, so this function suggests that p, when machine takes 1, it outputs p. When machine takes 2, it outputs q. When machine 3 takes 3, it outputs also q. So this is allowed in a function. So this values in domain, so multiple values in domain can be mapped to the same element. Okay, that is absolutely correct, that is absolutely valid. So we can call this as a function. But please understand that the same element in a domain cannot have two images or two outputs in this codomain. So what this suggests that this two is also producing. So when you have a machine like this, okay, and when you when you want to put 2, so you are putting 2, and this diagram suggests that it is also outputting p and it is also outputting q. So it is ambiguous definition, that cannot happen actually. So how machine will decide what to output, because machine at a time can output only one value, guys. So that is not the valid function, guys. So this is the main concept of function, guys. So you have seen that we graph the function, guys. So this is some kind of graph, but you can tell that this is not a function. So I will zoom here, I will zoom some bit here. So you can see that this value is also mapping to this value as well as this value, guys. So it fails the vertical line test. So in future, if you want to test some graph as function or not, you will just draw a line, and whenever this line intersects this curve in 2 points, okay, you can say that it is not a function. Okay, so we now have some understanding of what function is about. So let's talk about the types of the function, guys. So I have this Wikipedia page I have found very good for the explanation. So the functions are three functions, sorry. So there are three types of functions, guys. First type is injective function, second type is surjective function, and third type is bijection or bijective function. So let's have a understanding of that. So as you can see that what injection or injective function means, that you know this this element in the domain, this there are three elements present in this domain, guys. So I think you can now I will okay. So let's view this diagram, guys. Okay, so you can see that this 2 and 3 are mapping to q. This is valid function, guys, but this is not an injective function. So what injective function means, you have the different image for each number in domain, guys. So this cannot happen that this 2 and 3 cannot be mapped to the same element. So that is the definition of injective. So injective, if someone says that the function is injective, then you must understand that each domain value has corresponding value in codomain which are not equal. So two values or multiple values in a domain cannot be mapped to the same value in a codomain. That is called as injective function. So let's come to the surjective function, guys. So what surjective function means, you can see here. Okay, so now you can see that this diagram, this diagram is not injective, guys. Okay, because 3 and 4 are mapping to the same element c, but this function is surjective function. And what is the definition of surjective function? That each element of codomain must be image of some element in this domain. So now come to this example. You can see that this C guy doesn't have partner in this domain. So C is not an image of any element in the domain. So this is not surjective function, but this is injective function, because different elements are going to map to the different elements in a codomain. And also understand that the definition of function involves that every element in domain must have image in a codomain. So you won't observe function that you won't observe any function such that there is no mapping for, let's say, 2. So if number is in domain and if function is valid, it must have image in codomain. So please understand this concept. Now we know that two type of functions. First is injective. Injective means that different elements in domain have different images in codomain. And surjective means there is no element which doesn't have partner in this domain. Okay, in simple language. Okay, so now see this function. So this is known as bijection. Okay, guys, so bijection means that it is into, that is injection also and surjection also. Okay, injection, you can see that every element is mapped to the different element. So this 1 is mapped to D, 2 is mapped to B, 3 is mapped to C, 4 is mapped to A. So every element is mapped to the different element, and you won't see a single element that is not an image of this element in a domain. So into plus, that is injective plus surjective, you will get bijective function. And bijective function is one-to-one function, that is, you know, this relationship, that you can see that this relationship, that every element has a different element in as an image in a codomain. Also we there are, you know, there is no value which is not image of the domain in codomain. So I think you have understood this functions concept, guys. So tell me that what is the type of this function. I'm giving you 1 second, guys. Okay, just pause the video and, you know, tell yourself what is the type of this function. Okay, so now let me explain. So you can see that this function is clearly not injective, because, you know, these two elements are mapping to the same this C. And also you can see that this is also not a surjective, because this element is remaining, guys. So this is a non-injective. Okay, this is non-injective and also non-surjective. So let me zoom that I will show you this Wikipedia's, you know, uh, result. Okay, so this is not a bijection, this is not a injection, also not surjection. Okay, because bijection we want that function to be injective, also surjective. Okay, so just remember these three types of function, guys. Actually these are the concept of discrete mathematics. You must you must, you know, it is not essential that you must know these types, but for, you know, for your understanding I have explained this type to you, guys. So let's meet in next tutorial where I will discuss the implementation of this function in a Python video, guys. So thank you for watching.